we have a number of distinguished guests. You just met Councilman Pace, Ed Pace, and Councilman Rod Higgins. I just wanted to say that they and the rest of council, I think, are overall doing a wonderful job, and this is one of the few cities that is on sound fiscal basis. I always ask them what the reserve is, but I think it's somewhere near 30% or more. But that's prudent, and they've got money if there's emergency, and they've done a great job in keeping our roads up and adding public safety dollars. They're doing a great job. We also have with us the Mayor Pro-Tem of the city of the Spokane Valley, and that's Arnie Woodard and his wonderful wife, Charmaine. I'd like to also introduce, we do let people outside of the city of the Spokane Valley come to these events, and we have people from the county, and then we also have, I think, one of the few really fearless councilmen for the city of Spokane will stand up for what's right, isn't afraid to do that, Mike Fagan. Mike, if you'd stand up. I'd also like to introduce a couple of former officials here that have represented our area. Longtime county commissioner, now head of the Associated Builders and Contractors, executive director, Kate McCaslin. Yeah. And then one of my dear friends, and was my chair of my campaign, and who just was an outstanding legislator for 10 years representing the 4th District, especially known for her advocacy of parent-centered education, former Representative Lynn Schlindler. And although not officially a former public official, somebody who we all know because we used to observe him every night. He'd come into our homes, and that's Charles Rowe, the former TV newscaster. So great to have him here. And then also my fellow seatmate representing the 4th District, who's going to speak a little later, the Honorable Matt Shea. So anyway, I have the privilege of saying a few remarks about our candidate here, who I've known for over 30 years. And he's a great family man. He has his wife Heather and son Brian are both here. Heather, if you could stand, and I don't know where Brian is. I saw him a little while ago. He's around. But I knew Bob, of course, through his dad, and his dad and I were both elected first in 1980, so it's been well over 30 years. Okay, also, I didn't see him here. We also have our county treasurer. I was just handed up a note. Rob Chase. Is Rob here? I'll just take a second to digress, because Rob helped spearhead a bill that got through the legislature that would allow our taxpayers a better chance to keep their homes. If times were tough and they fell behind, there's now a way where they can make payments on any property taxes that they owe. So thank you very much for that, Rob. But anyway, as I was saying about Bob, I've known him for over 30 years. He's obviously was involved in his dad's campaign. He's been a volunteer for other campaigns. He's also been very active in his church, and I think something that really tells a lot about the character of an individual. For over 9 years, he and a fellow that I didn't know they were working together, the other fellow is actually our plumber, but together they have had a ministry down at the juvenile detention hall for 9 years. So I think that's rather remarkable. Thank you, Bob, for that. Bob has been a school teacher in the Central Valley School District for over 25 years, most of that time teaching kindergarten or the lower grades. He's certainly a very kind and considerate person, and really just, you know, it might sound trite, but just a very nice guy, and people like him. He relates well to other people, and I think he'll do a great job over in the legislature, a lot of which, as Matt knows, is relationship based, and I think he will have an ability to get along very well with both the members of the House Republican caucus and the Democrats there, and be able to advance the conservative cause. And Bob is a strong supporter of reduced taxes, smaller government, integrity in government, and working for the citizens, for the people that he represents. And I think he'll always remember that it's the people that elected him, not that he's over the people. So I think he's got a great attitude towards those sort of things. So I am very, very pleased to have him as hopefully a colleague in 2015 in the legislature with Representative Shea and myself. So we'll have a very solid team for the 4th District. So at this point, instead of listening to me, you'll have a chance to listen to Bob. I always call him Young Bob or Bobby, but it's just great to have him. So without any further ado, I give you Bob McCaslin.
Thank you very much. It's been a privilege for me to know Mike for a really, really long time. As he said so, the first time I met Mike was when I came over to visit my dad, and Mike said, "Hey, you want to do some work for me?" And I said, "Sure." He says, "I want to find out what the average taxpayer pays in taxes in the state of Washington. You go research that." So after going to the library in the Capitol and going to 2 or 3 other places, I actually found a government agency that was working on that. I think Mike never got that information. So unfortunately, because I only had a couple of days. But anyway, I'm so thankful that all of you are here. It's humbling to me that you would come out and support me, and I really appreciate that. I do. So welcome. And again, the love of my life, Heather, she has been supporting me. My son actually went home to turn the oven off. So he'll be back. He'll be back. And I want to make it clear, I'm standing up here because it's been so long. In 1978, I was a student at WSU and just lost. I can be real honest with you. I was lost. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know which way was up, which way was down. And that's when I came to know the Lord. And because of that, He saved me from total ruin. And I'd want to give Him all the glory for anything that's good in my life. So, the question that I've been asked the most in the last 18 months is why I'm running for office. And it's a simple question, really, but there are more than one answer, so I'll try to cover them quickly. I want to make a positive difference in Olympia for the 4th District. I became a teacher for that very reason, because I wanted to make a positive difference in kids' lives. So, number 2, I know that the skills I have as a teacher transfer directly over to the legislature. Many people say that it'll be just like my job right now as a kindergarten teacher. And I know some of you have heard that joke already. Sorry about that. But I do know how to build relationships with people and treat them with respect, even if I disagree with them, even if they disagree with me. And I'm going to do that in Olympia. And number 3, I believe in the Constitution, and I don't only believe in it, I want to follow it, and both the state and federal. It's the most relevant document we have to guide us as a nation and as a state. And why is it relevant? Human nature has not changed at all since it was written. Amen? Amen. Yeah, it hasn't. And it's one of those things that people, not very many people disagree with that. And sometimes their lives and how they vote and so on does. But I'll give you just a little history lesson on me. I started learning about politics in my household, of course, and I got a good education from somebody who believed in the Constitution and the ability of the citizenry to help themselves and then help others, not government programs. And in fact, Ben Franklin said, as long as it's more comfortable for people not to work, then they will not. It's then advantageous for government to make it as uncomfortable as possible for people not to work. And I believe that. Now, there are people that need help, but there's a line of succession there. There's a person's family, hopefully, to help them. And then you go all the way out past their church, their community, their city, and then only in the most hardest times, the state. But the federal government was never designed as a charity organization. And you'd think that the person that taught me all of this was my dad. No, it wasn't. It was my mom. In fact, my mom, Wanda McCaslin, she was the president of the local Republican Women's Club, and they asked her to run for the Senate before they ever asked my dad. And she had to work on him pretty hard to convince him to run. And then the rest is history. But I remember seeing Richard Nixon and Hubert Humphrey on the television and hearing my mom's running commentary on the whole thing. It was just, and she told me, successful businesses is the best way for our economy to grow. It's not shovel-ready jobs provided by the government. And of course she didn't use those. That's shovel-ready as a terminology, but I can't stress that enough, because here in the state of Washington, we've regulated business almost out of existence. And we need to get government out of the way so that businesses can grow. They provide jobs. People with money, because they have jobs, inject money into the economy. That's the way it should work. So, if you want someone who will make a positive difference in Olympia, I'm your guy. If you want someone who knows how to build strong relationships and treat people with respect, then I'm your guy. And if you want someone who will honor and follow the Constitution and use it as his guide, then I'm your man. And in closing, I've seen that government is a lot like cow farmers. Okay, and there's all different kinds of cow farmers in the state of politics. And so, for instance, the communist farmer, he has 2 cows. The government seizes both and provides him with the milk. A fascist farmer, he has 2 cows. The government seizes both and sells you the milk. You join the underground and start a campaign of sabotage. A bureaucratic farmer who believes in government bureaucracy has 2 cows. The government takes them both, shoots one, milks the other, pays you for the milk, and then pours the milk down the drain. And then there's the socialist, or the maybe moderate Republicans, I don't know. Sorry, that just escaped my lips. Sorry about that. You have 2 cows, the government takes one and gives it to your neighbor. So at least you have 1 cow left. The capitalist farmer, though, he has 2 cows. He sells one, he buys the bull, and he builds a herd of cows. Thanks. I appreciate it.
How's everybody doing? How are the desserts, by the way? Looks like I'm off my Obamacare health wellness program after tonight, I guess. So, we all know why we're here tonight, but I just want to say a few words about Bob McCaslin Jr. You know, you look for somebody to run for office that turns to God first for the answers. Not to what we think we should do in politics, not to pragmatism, but to God first. And I really appreciated one of the first times I met with Bob that we actually prayed together. One of the first things he wanted to make sure we did. And that's the kind of person we need in Olympia. Because of one place that I know of on the face of the earth that is very dark and doesn't have a lot of prayer, it's Olympia, Washington. So I also want to say that politics is a team sport. One person cannot just do this themselves. And the 4th legislative district has been a platform for freedom throughout not only Washington state, but other states have actually looked to what we're doing, what Mike Padden has been doing, what I've been doing, and what Bob McCaslin Jr. will be doing in Olympia, and taking that and making it a reality in their states too. That's why this is so important of an election. A lot of people write off the 4th district, but because it's Republican, who cares? It's really important because we are a platform of freedom. We are a platform of freedom. And Bob McCaslin Jr., I've sat down and I've talked with him for hours on various principles. When we send him to Olympia, he is going to do what he said he was going to do. You don't have to worry about him cutting a deal. You don't have to worry about him changing his mind. You don't have to worry about him saying, well, you know, I think we have to compromise on that because that's all we can do. He will stand on principle and do what he said he is going to do. And that's the kind of person that we need over there. How many of you are yearning to go to war? Right. Not a lot of us, right? That's exactly what we're sending Bob over there to do, though, is to go to war. So if you don't want to go yourself, one of the best ways to do it is to help him out. And the great thing is, Bob McCaslin's campaign, War Chest, is doing amazing. There is tons of money flowing into his coffers right now. At least, there will be after this evening. So if you don't want a $1.17 increase on your gallon of gas, if you don't want a gas tax increase, if you don't want cap and trade schemes in any of their forms, but you want a true constitutional conservative who is not going to just say they're pro-life, is not going to just vote pro-life, but is going to stand on the line and introduce bills that are pro-life, then we've got to get Bob McCaslin Jr. elected. So, with that said, take out your envelopes on your tables right now, and I will tell you, I have already donated myself to his campaign, and fill it out. But it's not just about money. If some of the things that are really important are endorsements. If you can't do anything else tonight, maybe you don't have enough money, make sure you endorse him. Sign that line, check that box. Maybe you can't give any money tonight, but you can have a sign put up in your yard. That is a huge, huge difference, because your neighbors will come by and say, hey, why do you support Bob McCaslin Jr.? And you get to tell them. So check that box. Put a sign in your yard. You may not have any money to give tonight, but maybe you can doorbell for Bob McCaslin Jr. Maybe you can help him in your neighborhood because you know your friends and neighbors there. Check that box. And then if you think you don't have any money, or your money might not make a difference, even $5 can pay for a yard sign or two, and that will make the difference. So if you can right now, fill out the check boxes on your envelopes. and then put them back in the center of your table. And I will conclude with a quote from a book of Irish laws, because we're in the 4th Legislative District, and Shea, McCaslin, and Padden are in the same room together. All right? And by the way, I had to really go through this because there are some pretty risque things in here. Thank you to my dad, Mike Shea. So this is an actual Irish law, okay? A layman may drink 6 pints of ale with his dinner. Okay, let me pause for effect there. But a monk may only drink 3 pints. This is so he will not be intoxicated when prayer time comes. So, with that, Mike Padden.
Hey, thank you very much, Matt. And I also encourage you all to support Bob however you can. Financially is very important also, because he's got to get those mailings out. He needs some radio time, hopefully, and you know, he's got to buy the yard signs and get those around and all the things that are necessary in a campaign. In addition to that, if you write a check and put it in the, I don't know, is a basket going to be coming around for that? Then you have a chance to win, another chance to win this wonderful day using a pontoon boat donated by Mr. Criddle, wasn't it?
Shea Criddle.
Shea Criddle, right.
Tara Criddle.
Okay, Tara. Well, hey, would you both stand up and be recognized? Thank you so much for your donation. But it has a value of $500, and I've got the certificate right here, so I think people are going to be going around. In the meantime, while that's going on, I just want to kind of close by saying, you know, we're in this together, and we're in it for a cause that's bigger than any one of us. Certainly bigger than Bob or Matt or myself or any of the other elected officials that are here or any of the people that volunteers, because we really are talking about freedom. We're talking about property rights. We're talking about protecting the unborn. And we're talking about trying to restrain a very oppressive government. So these are all things that are bigger than any one of us. And you should be, I just want to thank you all for coming and recognizing that there are things more important than sitting home watching TV or other things. And so it's just great that you're here. And we're going to give a little more time for the box to go around and put that in. And are we going to have the drawing tonight, Kate? Okay, so we'll give you a chance to do that. In the meantime, I do want to indicate that Bob is working very hard in this campaign. He's not just here asking you for support. He is out doorbelling, and I've seen him doorbell. I know how he doorbells. I've actually been doorbelling with him, and not in this campaign yet, but I'm going to. So,
You better.
And he relates really well to people. He has something to say. I've talked to a lot of teachers. There's some teachers here tonight, and that like Bob and know him. So. He's putting his everything in, and I'm sure Heather knows he's not around as much as he used to be.